A Mortal's Journey to Immortality Episode 254. In the previous episode, after returning to his secluded chamber, Han Li continued experimenting with the mysterious azure flame that he had obtained earlier. The flame's power was astonishing, fierce, untamable, and even his own purple fire struggled to suppress it. When he tried to grasp it directly, the azure fire resisted, flaring with immense force. To test its nature, Han Li merged his lightning energy with the flame, and the tiny ember greedily absorbed every spark of golden lightning, swelling into a brilliant orb of azure light. Realizing its terrifying potential, he decided it would be wasteful to let such energy go unused. Digging through his old notes, Han Li rediscovered a technique from the Profound Yin Arts, the Yinfire Lightning. It described the creation of lightning beads with destructive power greater than most forbidden spells. Although the method was meant for cultivators of the Devil Dao, Han Li's mastery over lightning and spirit control allowed him to adapt it. By fusing the azure flame into the process, he could forge a new kind of weapon, one powerful enough to shift the balance in the coming war. Days passed as thunder and fire flashed inside his chamber. Outside, at the drifting cloud sect, Lu Luo and the disciples grew increasingly uneasy. 2 months had gone by, and Han Li had yet to emerge, but as they debated whether to disturb him. "What's going on, everyone?" At that moment, a soft voice was clearly heard throughout the hall. When Lu Luo heard this, he wore a face of delight. And episode 254 is starting. Soon after those words echoed through the hall, Han Li suddenly appeared at the entrance wearing a calm expression. The moment he entered, all the core formation cultivators present bowed deeply towards him, a mark of their respect. Among them, Lu Luo quickly rose to his feet, smiling warmly. "Junior Martial Brother Han, you have finally left your seclusion. This is truly wonderful," he said. Han Li returned the smile but remained composed. "I was not completely finished with my seclusion," he explained. "However, I felt concerned about the matter of the Molan and decided to come out for a look. It seems I have arrived just at the right moment." Lu Luo chuckled, clearly pleased by Han Li's presence. "It seems, Junior Martial Brother Han, you have also heard the requests of our martial nephews. Many have wished to see you recently. But beyond them, the 3 great cultivators have personally invited you to attend a high-level meeting. It is crucial that you participate. Our drifting cloud sect has mustered nearly all its strength, and I cannot risk our disciples falling in large numbers. You must go and hear their plans for the upcoming war. It will put my mind at ease." Lu Luo's tone turned serious as he finished. Han Li nodded. "Since I am aware of this, I will certainly pay them a visit tomorrow. I have long wished to meet the 3 great cultivators and see how they plan to proceed. I look forward to it." Lu Luo beamed, satisfied with the response, and they spent a few moments discussing the events of the past 2 months. Han Li's expression grew serious when he asked, "The spell warriors have started attacking the border fortresses?" Lu Luo's smile faded. "Yes, in truth, this only began within the past 4 days. There haven't been many casualties, but it is a clear sign that the Molan have completed their preparations." Han Li blinked and spoke slowly. "The Molan prepared so quickly, but what of our forces? Surely we have made significant arrangements?" Lu Luo explained carefully. "Our situation is very different from the Molan. While their spell warriors have united under their tribes, ours are scattered across multiple sects. Each sect has its own techniques, powers, and resources, making full cooperation difficult. The Molan spent nearly a century preparing for this invasion, while our preparations have been much shorter. Fortunately, the 4 superpowers have committed fully to the war. Victory is possible, but only just." Han Li sighed, stroking his nose. "So, the war could begin at any moment." Lu Luo nodded helplessly. "Exactly. That is why the 3 great cultivators have summoned a meeting of mid-nascent soul-stage cultivators. These cultivators are at the peak of the Heavenly South's power. Their guidance will be crucial in the coming battles." As Han Li listened, the other cultivators in the hall grew solemn, realizing the gravity of the situation. After discussing the current state of affairs, Han Li inquired about the drifting cloud sect's recent preparations. The disciples spoke rapidly, describing the squads they had formed and the drills they held daily to train for group combat. Han Li listened quietly, understanding that wars were not fought alone. Even the most powerful cultivators could be overwhelmed by coordinated attacks from thousands of trained opponents. He knew it was essential that high-grade cultivators be effectively countered, as battles between such experts often determined the war's outcome. Han Li's thoughts then turned to the three great cultivators. He speculated that the upcoming meeting would not only focus on army arrangements but also on strategies to handle the Molan sages. He could not help but smile coldly at the thought. In the last 2 months, he had successfully removed the azure flame from all of his bamboo cloud swarm swords and transformed it into 8 lightning beads using divine Devilbane lightning. A task that had been exhausting and filled with numerous failures, yet ultimately rewarding. After spending some more time in conversation, Han Li returned to his residence to continue refining his spirit. 2 months of relentless work had taken a toll, but he had accomplished what he set out to do. The following morning, Han Li left the Drifting Cloud sect encampment and walked toward the city's heart. Soon approaching a massive stone palace hall. Skyfirst City had been built in a rush, so even this main hall, designed for high-level meetings among the 4 superpowers, appeared plain and somewhat crude. Beyond its large size, there was little to distinguish it, except for core formation cultivators standing vigil outside. As Han Li approached, the guards swept their spiritual senses over him. Recognizing his presence, one saluted and said respectfully, "Senior, only mid-nascent soul stage cultivators may attend this meeting. May I?" Han Li interrupted, flinging a white jade slip toward him. It was his invitation to the meeting. Once the guard sensed the slip's power, he apologized humbly. "I see it is Senior Han. I have been remiss in my manners. Please, enter." He stepped aside and opened the doors. Han Li was about to enter when something caught his attention. On a nearby street, he saw 2 figures walking slowly, a young man and a young woman. The man appeared no older than 20, dressed in finely embroidered robes, with flawless skin and a strikingly handsome face. His movements were smooth and elegant, but his gaze shifted constantly, revealing hints of vast experience beyond his apparent age. A strange, feminine aura surrounded him, giving him a peculiar charm that made him seem both male and female at once. Han Li felt a tremor in his chest and grew stern. This mid-nascent soul cultivator should be attending the same meeting. From his demonic presence, Han Li suspected he was a Devil Dao cultivator, though the exact sect was unclear. The woman walking beside him drew Han Li's attention next. She was young, beautiful, and wore dazzling bright red robes, exuding a grace and allure that were almost otherworldly. Upon seeing her, Han Li's face betrayed a brief surprise before he quickly masked it with a wry smile. It was her, Dong Xuan'er. Over the years, she had advanced to mid-core formation stage, a surprising achievement given her limited aptitude. Han Li observed their every move from the hall's gate. The guards also noticed the pair. Growing pale with apprehension, one whispered nervously, "I did not expect the Harmonious Bond sect's old Devil Gu to appear." Han Li's mind immediately connected the dots. Alongside their late nascent soul cultivator, the Harmonious Bond sect had another notorious eccentric, Taoist Cloudpart, also known as Old Devil Cloudpart. He was a master of appearance-altering techniques, and his strange constitution allowed him to cultivate the peak of the Devil Dao. His overwhelming lust and history of forcibly taking both men and women left many fearful of him, and even large sects dared not retaliate. Though Han Li had nothing to fear, the man's presence still made him uneasy. Just as Han Li was analyzing this, the youth's gaze fell on him. Narrowing his eyes, the man smiled faintly, exuding a subtle seductive intent. Han Li forced himself to return the smile, while Dong Xuan'er, upon seeing him, appeared shocked. The handsome youth continued walking toward the hall, seemingly indifferent, while Han Li followed to enter. When the youthful man saw this, his smile disappeared and he calmly asked Dong Xuan'er, "What, do you recognize this person?" Your heartbeat quickened. And that wraps up this episode. In this part, we saw Han Li finally emerge from his long seclusion. returning to the drifting cloud sect just as tensions with the Molan reached a critical point. The episode focused on Han Li assessing the preparations for the impending war. Learning that while the Molan have spent nearly a century readying their forces, the sects of the Heavenly South are still struggling to unify their strengths. This highlights how coordination, strategy, and planning are just as important as raw power, even for the most talented cultivators. We also saw Han Li's careful and thoughtful nature, as he reviewed the sect's squads, their combat drills, and the strategies in place to counter the enemy's high-level cultivators. His reflections reminded us that even the strongest individuals cannot fight wars alone, and that maintaining control over key forces and high-grade cultivators can decide the outcome of large-scale battles. Additionally, this episode introduced two notable figures who will play important roles moving forward. Dong Schwenner, who has grown to mid-core formation stage, showed that time and experience have strengthened her considerably, making her a cultivator to watch. Meanwhile, the appearance of the infamous Old Devil Cloudpart, a mid-nascent soul cultivator from the Harmonious Bond sect, added tension and intrigue. Known for his eccentricity, cunning, and fearsome reputation, his presence not only creates a sense of unease but also sets the stage for unexpected confrontations and complex interactions. Overall, this episode emphasizes the balance between personal strength, strategy, and the dynamics between powerful figures. It shows that in a world full of powerful cultivators, battles are not only about fighting, they are about observing, calculating, and anticipating the moves of allies and enemies alike. It is a reminder that the road ahead for Han Li will test both his combat prowess and his wisdom in navigating alliances, rivalries, and unexpected encounters. If you enjoyed this episode or found it intriguing, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you can get notified about the newest episodes following Han Li's journey. Thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you again in the next episode.